All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to StealthyHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.
You're listening to the Northern Hunter Podcast, home of all things hunting, fishing, and outdoors in Alaska. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is James Payne.
I'm Ryan Humphreys.
And today we are sitting down with Gary Simple Jr. You are the first chief of Venetie.
Yep.
And you run a YouTube channel all about here in Alaska called, what is it? Enigmatic Gwich'in?
Enigmatic Gwich'in.
All right, I got it right.
Yeah, it takes a couple times sometimes to get that one down.
Yeah. And for anybody wondering what enigmatic means, the meaning is about the same as how it sounds, trying to pronounce it. So. But yeah, so we're excited to talk to you. You do a lot of trapping, a lot of hunting, a lot of rural life experience here in Alaska. So very excited to pick your brain about that. Real quick though, guys, if you're listening to this and you want to support what we're doing here at the Northern Hunter, obviously the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to the show,
right.
Share it with your friends, give us a rating and a review. That all goes just super far in getting this content out to people.
It does. It helps a lot.
Yeah, with the algorithms and all that. If you'd like to help us grow, if you go to the website, thenorthernhunter.com, we've got a shop page there with some merch and whatnot that you can buy. We've got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and a partners page there as well, where a bunch of great companies have partnered up with the Northern Hunter to help support us and help bring you guys some discounts. They've given us codes and all that's listed there on the website as well as in the show notes of this show here. There are a lot of great companies. Mm-hmm. Some of them are smaller, so buying gear from them helps them out a lot, helps us out a lot, and we appreciate all the support. If you have any questions about any topics we've talked about in the past, anything we're going to talk about in today's episode, or anything you're just curious about in Alaska, we've got our social medias. If you search at the Northern Hunter on either Facebook or Instagram, you'll find us there. And there's a contact button right on the website. You can get an email out to us with just a little bit of information, and we'll try to answer your questions as fast as possible. I think we're kind of due for a Q&A episode. We've got quite a few emails in, so we're going to work on that. Yeah. But thank you, everybody, for the support. We really appreciate everybody that helps us out here. So, Gary, I am very, very grateful. So thank you very much for cutting some time out of your day to come hang out with us here in the studio. I know you're only in town for a short time and very busy man, so thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's don't come to Fairbanks very often, so when we do, we're here. We hit everything we possibly can: ammo, any kind of traps, move whatever kind of meat that needs to go to other people and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always a quick one. Even if it's a week, it's a quick week.
Yeah,
so,
I can only imagine. Yeah. a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving pieces. So to kick this one off, we'll just say, so I met you. Like 6 months ago now, I think it was. I was up there. Actually, probably longer than that now. Yeah,
it was almost 10 months ago.
Yeah, about 10 months ago.
Like December of last year.
Yeah. I was up there in Venetie doing some work, and a coworker of mine, good buddies from the old days, and so
went to high school with him.
Yeah, and you were kind enough to come pick us up on your snow machine from the airport, and which I just gotta say. For anybody that knows, that's listened to the show for a little bit, I travel a lot for work. I go to all kinds of places. That is probably my favorite part of the job. Honestly.
Just seeing all that different countryside.
Yeah, the rides from the airstrip are probably my favorite part. Whether I'm riding a toboggan behind a sled or on a dog sled being pulled or something, it's so much fun. I was up in Arctic Village the other week, and I was riding. I basically had to balance on the I don't know if I should say this. There might be a safety person from my company listening. I was like balancing on the tongue of a trailer behind a 4-wheeler. I took a video of it. I should probably post that and be like,
yeah, there you go.
How'd you guys get to work this morning?
No, I do know a guy that got fired for posting a pic
Oh, really?
on Facebook.
Well, maybe we'll cut this out. That part. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no. So yeah, you were kind enough to come pick us up, give us a ride, and then take us out and kind of show us around your place a little bit up there, and we got to hear a lot about your trap line, and we got to talking about this show here, me doing this, and your YouTube channel and everything. And it was, I'm very glad to finally get you in here. It's been a long time coming. So
yeah, as soon as you mentioned it, I jumped on there and got, I think I had like a month or something of different episodes I hadn't watched yet, or not listened to yet. I mean, but that was awesome. And so since then, you guys are probably the most steady podcast that I'll listen to every week. So
Nice.
it's awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Hearing the Alaska side of it, you don't hear that. Like, I mean, it's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different sometimes from the village to like the city, and then listening to you guys learn a little more about the guiding side of it because like we're just subsistence hunting, fishing and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to see that side of it as well.
Right. Yeah. No, there's a whole lot of different ways to do things in Alaska, depending on where you're at and whatnot. So, let's talk about that. So you grew up out in Venetie, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, my dad was born 250 yards from my house down by the river. Yeah.
Nice.
And my mom was born on the East Coast. So,
okay. Yeah.
So I got a little bit of both sides of the world on me. So
nice.
It's pretty cool.
What's so for everybody that grew up in a city down in the southern part. So what's it like growing up in a place like Venetie?
Oh, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
You're really sheltered from. So in the 90s, it was more like, I don't know, the 80s, I guess. So the rest is we're a little about
tracking behind a little,
about a decade behind there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun growing up in the village. It's just a lot of freedom. During the summer, just walking the river, fishing, just all summer long, handing out fish and trapping ground squirrels and shooting grouse and ducks.
Yeah.
Every season of the year's got something else for you to hunt, something else to trap, something else to do. So I don't know. I hear some people long for a certain part of the year, like, oh, I want winter, or oh, I want summer, and I'm like, I'm just looking forward to the next thing.
Right.
Yeah. So it's summer. It's like, oh man, I can't wait for moose hunting in the fall, and that comes. I can't wait for trapping in the winter, and winter I can't wait for springtime, and
yeah. Well, and honestly, that's how we are here a lot too. I mean, I
feel the same way. Yeah.
It's there's always, and I always feel like I'm behind. Is my big thing.
Yeah.
I always feel
you're rushing to get the thing done. You're in right too.
Yeah, like
preparing for the next.
We're getting into trapping and predator hunting seasons and all that stuff, ice fishing, and like I'm already thinking about bear baiting season because I'm trying to get ahead. I'm trying to because it seems that I get to the season and then it's just too late,
and then you're not ready.
And then shipping never
comes quick.
Yeah, nothing gets shipped to Alaska when it says it's supposed to.
Yep. No, that's a big problem there for sure.
Yeah.
No, like the bear baiting thing, you guys. So I'm probably gonna do that next spring because of you guys.
Oh, nice.
Really? Yeah. Most of the time, we'll just shoot bears where we're at. Us, we'll travel and we just shoot bears.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. They're probably You probably wouldn't have to bait them up there. Honestly, is that a three bear area or a 5 bear area?
They kind of bait themselves, I guess.
Because
they're either pulling fish out of the river or killing stuff in certain areas.
Right.
So you can kind of know certain areas where they're gonna,
there you go,
higher likelihood of they're gonna be, or where animals are crossing rivers and stuff. The more time you spend on the river, you know where animals are gonna be crossing, and then just completely random too.
Yeah.
You might just have a black bear stumble into camp and like, oh, there he is. Boom. Like, oh, now we're cutting up bears 1 a.m. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you were telling me the last time I was up there, didn't you shoot one like right across that little slough from your house?
Oh, no, it was right on the same side of the river.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe from my last dog, maybe 50 yards behind where my last dog is tied up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. That skin got pulled down and a different skin is now in that spot.
Nice.
Yeah. So
there you go. There you go.
But yeah, that was a pretty cool one. Any bears that make it in the village, they gotta get put down.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They're gonna come back if they've been in there. They're gonna most likely come back.
Right. Turn into problem bears.
Yeah. So it happens quick. Everybody around town everyone's proficient with guns, and so it's a lot of ARs shooting everything with 223.
There you go. Readily available.
Yeah. And so I got a buddy that he carries a Mini 14 and he just shoots everything with it.
Yep.
It's like right in the spine. Moose, one shot.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm like that's a bad cat right there.
Yeah, exactly. So how big is Venetie?
Right now it's right around 200. I think last count is about 208 full-time residents.
Okay, gotcha.
And when I was a kid, there was well over 400.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So it's dropped quite a bit. It's starting to slowly build up again.
Right.
But yeah, since the
was
90s.
there some industry change there, or?
An entire generation of elders passed away.
Gotcha.
And so there is like, I don't know, a couple dozen that like family heads
Mm-hmm.
that have all passed away. So a lot of people left for work.
Okay.
A lot of people were
Right.
told you need to leave the village. You need to go. You need to get out and do something else and stuff.
Right.
And that kind of, I don't know. It hurt a lot of villages doing that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because now they don't have that carpenter that's working in Fairbanks or the
Right.
the pipe fitter that's living down in Washington or something. So
Yep.
so we're kind of trying to pull people back in. There's more work happening. There's the projects that are happening there. It's just one after another. It's
Mhm.
amazing seeing the village my village grow. It's
Yeah.
really awesome, and seeing that the more work you put into it, and the more you get accomplished, the more that it seems to just come our way.
Mm.
So it's a
Yeah.
real blessing to spend the money that we get correctly and watch it just flow back into the community.
Right.
Yeah, it's a real
take
blessing.
care of everybody. Yeah, I heard you guys are getting a couple new, or what is that? A new water plant up there?
Yeah,
here soon?
our water plant got finished. They handed the keys
Awesome.
over in January. We got
Awesome.
the new power plant fired up about 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they ran 3-phase power all across town. That'll be finished next
Wow.
spring
Oh, nice.
because they ran out transformers or something.
Yeah.
Shipping thing, I think.
So does that mean I'm going to stop getting alarms for power outages in the hut?
No, yeah, I should. So other than a few tests they had to do,
Good.
those old tier 2, even I think there was even one tier 1 diesel generator that was sitting in there. Yeah, these
Mhm.
new 225 kilowatt generators should be more than enough to power everything
Awesome.
without any problem.
Nice.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
So
So is that 208 volt or 480?
Coming out of that new building, I don't even know. I've been too busy.
Oh, okay. Just
Right.
not that it matters,
Yeah.
just curiosity.
Yeah.
No, everything dropping out of that new building. I guess we'll find out exactly everything next spring when everything is finished being hooked up.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But yeah, right now everything is split into three different sections in town. So if anything happens in Venetie, my house will make sure it'll be out no matter what happens.
Yeah.
A pole goes down, something gets hit, like, yep, my power goes out, and I'm like, yep. It's always my little section of town. So
Does
I would imagine
I don't know.
a plant that size would probably be 480. It would make sense.
okay?
like,
I mean,
to me.
I haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
yeah, everything is new. So once they connect the new lines, it probably will be.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So right now, who knows what it is now? It's kind of
Right.
it's kind of retrofitted into the lines we have.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
just do you guys have a school?
Yeah. There's a
So-
school there.
Does your population fluctuate winter to summer based on the school year? I know, like I've been spent some time on the North Slope, and their population, I mean, it'll change 100 by 100
Mm,
people,
Yeah.
even
But,
in a small village.
Like we might lose like a few people in the summertime just because
Mhm.
they're not in school, but we gain well more than that in workers.
Okay. Yeah.
Really?
There's
Okay.
there's so many projects happening where there's no way we can have enough workers
Gotcha.
in Venetie.
That makes
Enough
sense, yeah.
our labor force
Right.
has shrunk so much in the last like couple decades.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, it. So yeah, in the summertime we'll get 20 plus workers.
Okay.
Yeah, seasonal workers that come in to hit different.
Okay.
And now that there's the contract work that happens in the villages are a little different than it used to be. It used to be that the villages like ran all the projects, but now
Mhm.
they contract out to different crews to come in. So
Okay.
it is good though because they know that it's going to get done.
Right.
Yeah.
And so and just the manpower we have, like we have just barely enough workers to do the jobs that we have that we're
Right.
in control of. Because
Mhm.
that's what being a chief is kind of like a foreman
Right.
for 200 people in the village.
Yeah.
It's just a foreman. So yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. We'll touch on that real quick. So, how does the village positions work? So because you were second chief when I met you,
Yeah.
and then since then you've moved up to first chief.
Yeah. So we had an election back in September.
Okay. Yeah.
So according to that election, that's who kind of, I don't say governs Venetie, but yeah, it's kind of like a
Yeah, I was gonna say,
mayoral seat, I guess.
is it like
It's
like a
similar.
mayor or governor?
Yeah,
kind of
so I
thing?
kind of
Yeah.
oversee everything.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm the last name on the list when numbers get passed around of who to
Right.
talk to. I'm like, after me, it's kind of that's where it ends.
Gotcha.
Right.
And it also
You're
means
the,
that
you're
I'm
the big
the
dog.
it also means that I'm the first responder for search and rescue, fire,
Okay,
bears. I mean, anything you can think of.
Yeah.
Call the chief.
you're the go-to guy.
Call the chief
Yeah.
and council, and they say council after chief. That's what they call me first. So.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
it's good though. It's a blessing being able to help my people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a busy one. It doesn't leave a lot of room for hunting, trapping, fishing, and YouTube. But
Yeah,
I still do it.
yeah. Still find the
Sometimes
time.
barely. Yeah. So yeah, it takes a little while. Sometimes editing videos. But
Yep.
yeah, I think I started off making the videos a little too. I don't know. I put a little too much time into them, and now
yeah.
I find myself having to spend so much time putting it together. But there's no way
Right.
I can go back now.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and people seem to like my stuff, so
Well, and
I'm
I'm sure
gonna continue with that.
after doing it a while, you've probably refined your process, gotten a lot more efficient with
Yeah.
different buttons to push, and
I
you're
just
more
got to be
familiar.
careful with the B-roll. I get
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I hate cutting it out. And then that's when I have my wife will come in and edit for me because she can hit that delete button a little quicker than I can. So that
Right.
after the first pass of editing, and I've gone through and deleted stuff, the second pass is way easier. Just say, that's got to go. That's got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, so the village, village politics, it can be kind of a messy one.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. So if anything goes wrong, it gets pointed towards me.
Mhm.
And when stuff happens to go right, it usually doesn't get pointed. But I got a lot of support though. I got a lot of people.
There you go.
Just about the entire village is somehow related to me,
Mhm.
and that's a good and a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But my wife is from Fort Yukon,
Okay.
so yeah, she's not from Venetie.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, Fort Yukon's a little bit bigger. I think they have 450 people permanent.
Yeah, at
Something.
least that. I remember
Yeah.
hearing numbers of in like the 600s and stuff.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's a seasonal place too. Like it's
Mhm.
Right.
there's a lot of people moving in and out there summer. A lot. It seems like there's a huge influx in the summertime because people want to go home
Mhm.
because it's hot. It's like 100 plus degrees.
Right.
So
Yeah, don't they
Right.
have like one of the biggest influxes in temperature
Yeah.
anywhere in Alaska?
I think they held on to a record low for decades. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll go from like almost 70 below to 100, I don't know, in the sun, 120,
Mhm.
110 in
Wow.
the shade.
Yeah.
So yeah, even in Venetie now, I got to have AC.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, my house has two AC, little small AC units in
there
there.
you go.
It's just, yeah. But for Yukon, that's the influx of temperature from one side to the other is just intense.
Mhm.
So when people talk about the cold here, the cold there, I'm like, whew. I've seen 72, 73 below.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was a
Yeah.
kid in the 90s. And yeah, I remember walking to school and you see the smoke coming out of the stovepipes and they just kind of
settles.
come out of the stovepipe and then drop, hit the tin and then down to
Yeah.
the ground. I'm like, my parents are like, you're going to school, huh? And I was like trudging up there. only to trudge back when there's closed.
Right.
Yeah.
Barefoot
Maybe-
both ways, right?
maybe- when they say it's uphill both ways, it's only because there's a hill in front of them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's not a lie, right? But yeah, it's a
Well, so one thing I wanted to touch. So you got to travel around a little bit in your youth. You were telling me about your parents were involved in some missions work, and some stuff where you got to go around for some revivals. You were telling me and stuff.
yeah. So
Go into that a little bit.
yeah, so my father is a traveling evangelist.
Okay.
I think he's been doing it for 30 years all
Yeah.
over the state. I think he's gone to he went to the Philippines once and down to the lower 48 a few times. I forgot his list of villages is like 100 or something. Or
Wow.
I forgot how many
That's
he
a lot of
had,
villages.
or somewhere around there. I know it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we would in the summertime. So he'd be traveling a lot during the wintertime. So that left us to, trap rabbits and haul in wood and stuff from outside. And yeah, my dad would be traveling. But as soon as duck hunting came, he'd be back and we'd go out to duck camp hunt. And then from there we'd hit like Chalkitsik and go have a revival there.
Okay.
And yeah, then every once in a while he'd take us on the road with him. So we'd go to Tok and Tanacross, Wasilla, Anchorage,
Yeah.
all over the place, doing revivals. And so yeah, he's been a busy guy. God's put a lot in his heart to go do. So he
Mhm.
plays music and yeah,
Yeah, I've seen some of that on your channel there.
Yeah. He's a talker. You think I'm a talker, yeah, he can go on, and he's been around for a minute. So yeah, my dad's awesome. Yeah, people will say like, oh, that person is cool. They shoot this, they shoot that. And I'm like, yeah, my dad will just lay out that bear and just like go on and drink tea. Yeah? Like, oh yeah, that's happened a lot. Right.
Right.
And I was a kid, like, a bear would come by or get shot or something. He'd just grab his 30-30, his little short 30-30, and just walk right into the brush. And I'm like, yeah, he's cool.
Right.
Some of the coolest shots I ever seen. He laid out with that little 30-30. Yeah, moose, yeah, bear, everything. So, yeah.
That's a good round.
It's important when you have kids to make sure you look awesome in front of them.
Oh
right?
yeah,
absolutely.
You got to be the most kick butt person out there.
Yep. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Be the example for
and
them.
I've had the blessed to do that in front of my daughter, lay out animals and trap and do a lot of cool stuff. So
she go out with you?
Yeah, not as often as I would want, but I'm not forcing her to go either.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
How old is she?
12 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's shot three caribou by now.
Very nice.
She shot one last year. She shot a couple the year prior before that. She goes duck hunting every spring with me and checks some line. We'll probably have a smaller line around town that her and her friends can kind of keep an eye on, especially if we're trapping lynx now.
Yeah.
Some years we don't trap lynx and stuff, and so the lines kind of are a lot different. Yeah, when it depends on what you're aiming for.
Right.
So if you're hitting lynx, you just trap every trail.
Yeah.
Every trail, every back slough, you just got traps on. Just because lynx are just, when they come through, they're just everywhere.
Yeah, they move a lot, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, they're huge movers. I think I remember Fish and Game came up to Venetie once and had a radio collar map. And they had one come down from Canada, and it was just like, I don't know what this this cat was doing, but he came down from Canada into the Yukon Flats, and I think he might have gotten trapped down by beaver somewhere.
Wow.
But he'd gone down further than that too, like down below Rampart somewhere, and came up, and that's when he got
no
taken
kidding
down. Yeah, so I've never got a radio collared lynx before, but I think our best year trapping lynx was high 50s.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's pretty good.
And that was kind of my first year back trapping too. After like going like working and going to school and all that.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the learning curve was just.
Yeah. Yep. You know, I've heard of grizzlies traveling long distances. Somebody was telling me about a study they did where a collared grizz went all the way from the Alaska range all the way up to the Brooks and back in one season.
I wouldn't doubt it. Moose do the same thing. Some of them can just.
I didn't realize lynx would do that though.
Yeah, I mean, any of those animals, they can just traverse anything. Huh?
I mean, I've heard of mountain lion crossing like half the country down there, or most of the United States. Yeah.
There was actually one spotted, I think, like a decade ago, maybe 40 miles below Venetie on the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said that they'd seen a cougar, so I don't know why they'd lie. So they most likely saw one, huh? A mountain lion cougar, whatever.
Right.
But I mean, like, that's one thing I dream of trapping. Like, I see videos of people trapping a big cat. And it's like, I would love to come around the corner, just like a cat sitting there like that.
Just one paw.
His paw at number 5. Oh, that'd be great. And the way that the animals and the kind of the I don't know, the way the climate is kind of, that everything's in cycles, the way everything is. So who knows? Maybe we'll have cougars up this far.
Yeah, I've heard more and more stories as the years go by of them coming in from Canada and coming up. I know just south of here in Delta, or south of Delta a little bit, but there were some sightings of ones down by was that Donnelly Dome down there. Some people were saying they saw some mountain lions on there.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, it's who knows?
Yeah,
maybe in a couple years.
there's more Wolverine up in the flats now than there used to be.
Really?
So
Yeah,
it's still a cat country. Like Fort Yukon is kind of like, I don't know, from everything I've ever heard, like that's like, that's like the middle of like the most cats, people getting, hundreds of cats in their trapping season and stuff like that. So yeah, there's just a lot of books. I've just started to collect books on trapping and just anything to do with Alaska. I met another podcaster, Jeremiah Wood. I think he does Trapping Today or something like that. Okay. And he turned me on to a whole bunch of books I never even knew existed. Yeah. So it's pretty cool reading some of these like old journals and stuff of people that had traveled up to the Fort Yukon area and talked about my people, like up on the Chandelar and stuff like that. Like it was a trapping, gold mining, stuff like that. It was a lot of there was a lot that came through, and just a crazy amount of books that came out of that area from the Porcupine, Shinjik, Chandelar. Yeah. Just that whole area there.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's been some good and bad history, mostly good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be awesome to read books about the area you're trapping in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
I can see my great grandpa's name in there or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a real quick break, Mo, and then we'll dive back in.
All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to STEALTHYHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.
All right, so give people an idea of how remote Venetie is. Like when you're talking about, it's a small town. You mentioned it's up off the Chandelar River.
Yep.
What's like the closest other civilization, like the other closest villages?
So I remember when I was probably like 10 years old, my grandpa, he's a mechanical engineer that built turbines for Boeing back in the 90s, and helped build when they first built the F-16s back in like the 70s.
Gotcha.
I think he was part of that, and like a really smart guy. And, I remember like I must have been 10, so I was like 98, and he came in with the GPS. And he's like, "Oh, it's 155 miles from Fred Meyer's to my parents' house." And I was like, we're like kids, like, "Whoa, we didn't know that was like a thing." Right. GPS, what's that? But awesome. I still use that to this day. Yeah, so it's like 155 miles from Fred Meyer's to my parents' house.
Yeah.
And Fort Yukon is about 60. I think it's about 60 trail miles and maybe 40 air miles.
Okay.
Yeah. Below kind of southeast of Venetie.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they've got, I don't know, 500 around there, 600 people live there.
Okay.
And then above Venetie is Arctic Village, and that's about 70 air miles and well over 100 trail miles from Venetie to Arctic.
Right.
Okay. So those are the two closest, and there's also Beaver, which is really tiny. So that's down on the Yukon, and then Chalkitsik. So yeah, we're kind of in the middle of like that Gwich'in like territory inside of Alaska.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. But it is, like you said, remote. So plains in the wintertime. Summertime you can drive to Circle City, jump in a boat and drive 140 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, from Circle, something like that. It depends on if you know which way to go.
Yeah.
If you don't take, there's like 1,000 islands between Circle and Fort Yukon.
Right.
So if you don't take the right route, you could take twice as long.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a little ways. So people still do move some freight on the river, mostly for fishing and hunting.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff we do on the river is recreational.
Yeah.
Like we just want to get out of the village.
I was going to say, is there still a lot of barging that goes on at all? Or
to Fort Yukon.
To Fort Yukon, yeah.
I've got a buddy that has a boat just barely big enough to put like a four-door Tundra,
right, yeah.
It's just barely. It looks a little crazy. Yeah, the truck is like sticking out of the boat as it's going by. But I mean, the Chandelar River is just too braided.
Too
there's
shallow.
all these spider channels and stuff.
Yeah.
So during high water, it's more than high enough. But there's just not a whole lot of people I would risk it. I think they had a couple barges come up, I don't know, about a decade ago, and I think he chewed up his props and lower units pretty bad.
Yeah.
So it's a shallow one.
Yeah.
That's why we run jets nowadays.
Right.
Yeah. Right. When I was a kid, everyone ran props, but I did that for the first, over a decade of driving. I've been driving on the river for 23 years.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, you're driving a jet," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm done driving a prop."
Right.
On this river, I ain't getting out of the boat.
Right.
Yeah. The one thing that always kind of blows my mind when I get to especially the more remote villages is, because all the airstrips are pretty uniformed if you go to all the different villages. So like Arctic Village looks a lot like Venetie's airstrip. It looks a lot like Fort Yukon's airstrip. Looks a lot like there's some differences, but they're pretty uniform for the most part. And you get out in this airstrip, whether you're going in on a 206 or the Wright's flight or whatever it might be, and you get off, and you're 150 miles from anything, and there's this giant loader there that state has out there for keeping the runway clear and everything, and it just makes me scratch my head. I'm like, how?
Yeah, if it's a gravel airport, it's going to be a Herc, a massive military airplane that's made to land on gravel. Brought that out there at the cost of about $75,000.
Yeah,
one trip. Yeah. And so it's a bit spendy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Good night.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. There's more people bringing vehicles out. Yeah, it's getting a little easier for that side of it, but the Hercs are only going up in price even since COVID.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like a DC-6 has gone up 10,000 or something more than that. It's outrageous, but that's what it costs.
It is what it is.
If you don't pay that, you don't get what you need up there.
Right.
Where do they run the barge out of?
Circle.
Okay.
So the barge comes from Circle to Fort Yukon. So a lot of stuff can get moved to Fort Yukon because they can even bring bigger barges from Fairbanks, Nenana, down the Tanana, up the Yukon. So they get fuel barged into Fort Yukon like that.
Okay.
We're actually cutting a trail from Venetie to down by what they used to call Venetie Landing, kind of down towards the Yukon, so that those DC-6s that have, 10, 15 years left before they don't fly anymore, we're going to have that ice road in before those planes stop flying.
Okay.
Because once those planes are mothballed, those engines were made in World War II. They're not flying forever. So if a village isn't connected by a road system, river system, like how can you get fuel? Like it's at the cost of, like I said, $75,000. That's not including the fuel.
Right.
Yeah, most villages are just going to be done. So we're making sure that no matter what happens, Venetie continues to exist into the future.
Right.
So,
no kidding.
I think a lot of people are too busy with a lot of other stuff to really think about that. So that's what we're trying to make sure that like my kids like have Venetie still there.
Right.
No matter what.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So that's
makes sense. Yeah.
That's a big part of it there, is trying to keep that and keep that tradition alive. Same way I do like trap, hunt, fish, all that kind of stuff, run dogs. It's all fun, but it's also got a cultural aspect where my people have been doing that forever, so I want to keep it alive.
Absolutely.
Even as a kid, every adult male in Venetie was a trapper.
Yeah.
And every single one of them over 60 has run long lines in their lifetime. It might have been 30 years, 40 years, but it just comes back in a heartbeat. They talk about when I trap, and all of a sudden they're like just flowing into these stories of going out here, going out there, these trails that are just brush now. Like I'll go out there, check it out, and drive my snow machine. I'm like, there's no getting in there. It's gone. Or fires that burn them over, like the fires that did a lot of damage. We've had a lot of fires over the years that just wiped out everything.
I can imagine.
But I mean, it's better off it burns now, so it doesn't burn when I'm old. So
there you go. Yeah.
I can trap there later in life. So
it'll be all renewed when you're old.
Yeah, I got to think about it like that too.
So you guys are up in the northern, kind of northeastern region of the state, a little bit, kind of north central, northeastern.
Yeah. So I guess it's still called the interior. I guess.
How close are you guys to Anwar?
So our tribe's land goes right up into Anwar.
Okay.
So if you were to look at a map of Anwar, there'd be like a sliver that pokes up right in the middle. That's our land, our tribal land.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's right up in there.
Yeah.
So our tribe has been able to hang on to our land rights, which is an amazing feat over the years, where most tribes have given up control to corporations.
Right.
So that was one thing growing up. You never sign anything. You never sign the land away. This is number one thing is you never give it away. You never sell it. You never sign anything. So,
yeah.
So now I'm standing there in the lead saying like, don't sign anything. Like having to tell kids that now.
Right.
As a kid, like I thought that everyone was just paranoid. Like, oh yeah, they're not trying to take our land. But,
right.
Well, it might not just be taken, but it's just kind of renting it.
Right.
Right,
Well,
well,
yeah, it's these
yeah.
leases and other things. And it
Yeah.
just creates a whole spiral of other stuff. And I mean, land is the most important resource there is. I mean,
Yep.
nobody's making more of it.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
Well, so yeah, legally, I mean, you couldn't sell it, right? Except to each
Ooh.
other.
oh, you can.
It's hairy. It's
know you can
very-
lease it.
Out of almost 200 tribes. There's only we're I think one of the last besides Tetlin
Mm-hmm.
that has regained, like not regained, but held on to control of our
Right.
subsurface and surface rights and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Most of them are held on to. They're in trust. When you sign
Okay.
your land into trust, that's no longer your land anymore.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Same
Okay.
way that reservation land
Right.
isn't technically their land. It's in
Mm.
trust by the government. That's why the government gives them money for it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what we're trying to
And then is that when
trying
you
to stay
get
away from.
like the mineral rights and stuff like that kind of
Yeah.
goes to these other.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because they can come. Yeah, there's plenty of corporations that probably love to get a hold of our land just so they could go drill on it.
I can
Right.
imagine. Yeah.
So that's the whole thing is just trying to hang on to our culture and our lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing there. So when people say things, when they see what I put on YouTube and they say, "Why are you doing that?" and that's like, you got time to sit down and talk about this? I could go on for a while.
Right.
Well, and I do love that about your channel, because there is a lot of the trapping, there's a lot of
Mhm.
hunting, there's a lot of other, like just kind of the outdoorsy stuff, and all part of you guys' life up there. But you had a lot of videos of other things, the meetings at the hall and the dancing and the singing and the kind of community and culture and all that. I think that's really awesome to showcase all of that.
Yeah, that's kind of why my channel is there now is to kind of show that side of it.
Right.
Because over the years, like whenever we look for anything that has Venetie on it and stuff, it's always the bad news.
Oh yeah.
And it's stuff like that. So like my wife and my brother, but really my wife pushed me to really get that part out there, like the happy side, the lifestyle we're actually carrying. Because a lot of the time people say like, oh, the Gwich'in aren't using their land anymore and stuff, and it's like that's not true. There's not as much of us here as there once was, but we're still using it. And so getting not just trapping, not just hunting, not just village life, but trying to get a mix of everything.
Yep.
And so I've got so much video. Like I've gotten all kinds of video from the summertime I haven't even gotten through yet.
Yeah.
So, which is probably good though, because sooner or later, if I can't do anything for a minute, I'll still have footage I can go back and slap together.
Well,
So.
sounds like you're a very busy guy. So
Yeah, nonstop morning to night. If there's not one thing, there's something else going on.
Right.
And the search, even just like the search and rescue side of being the chief and stuff, making sure that people go out in the woods, that they come back.
Mhm.
You're right.
So that's
right.
a couple times a year probably. We have to go chase somebody down, find somebody out on the river and stuff like that. Just
Yep.
a lot of the time it's just bringing them gas.
Yeah. I
And
was
that's
saying-
what we pray for.
Right.
Like, when they don't show up, it's like we just pray that gas is all they need.
Right. Absolutely.
And most of the time it is, So
Yep.
we're very blessed to be. I had a friend one time, I brought him out shooting ARs and stuff and talking about living out there. And he looks across the lake at the mountain and goes, "Bro, you're in the promised land."
Yeah.
Sometime when you're in the middle of it, you don't understand and don't realize how good you've got it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Absolutely.
it's so big in front of you that you just don't see it.
Yeah.
So like after that, I remember thinking like, oh man, he's
Yeah.
right. And you got to respect it at that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted. And then like I want to share our lifestyle, my people's way. And if I could just speak my language, that would be a big part of it. So that's what I really need to. Yeah, I really need to work on that too.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I could carry that forward as well.
Yeah.
Well, and I gotta say, Venetie is an absolutely gorgeous place. I've been to quite a few villages now, mostly in the interior and northern regions of the state, and Venetie is definitely on my top list. It's
nice.
it's a real nice place. I mean, even just the way you guys take care of your home. A lot of the buildings look taken care of. You got a lot of those log structures. They look real, just real authentic Alaskan.
They pumped out dozens of log cabins back in the in the 70s. Yeah, you drive through town and there's these huge like 40 or something by 25 log cabins.
Yeah.
Like they got a lot of the good logs around town. Let's put it that way.
I was gonna say yeah.
Within a few years they knocked down most of the big trees around town to build those cabins. So they're growing back now for sure.
Right.
But I mean, that took some work.
Oh yeah.
Real elbow grease to put all that together.
Yep.
So it's
and the interior is not known for big trees.
Yeah.
So, like,
they're
tall
getting
and skinny.
Yeah, they're getting bigger now, I guess,
Mhm.
as the tree line moves further north and stuff like that. But like down by Fort Yukon now, like I was reading in a book a while back about how they barely had enough to build cabins in Fort Yukon.
Yeah.
Like, in the late 1800s.
Mm.
And so now, like looking down, like you go down Fort Yukon, you'll find trees that are like 30 inches across and stuff. Like these
wow.
massive trees
Yeah.
along the Yukon.
Wow.
And like even just in the last decade, the willows have turned into bamboo alongside the river down by the mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember looking over those willows at the lake back there. And now it's like 20-foot tall bamboo looking willows.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Witnessing the world changing, but it's good, we just change with it. There's nothing we can do about it, and it's, I mean,
yeah,
we love the world we live in, so we continue to use it and respect it. So
absolutely,
yeah, it's
so with that, so you'd mentioned, a lot of your life up there is subsistence hunting, subsistence fishing, kind of utilizing the land and making sure you continue on that. What's that look like? Give like a breakdown of the year, like for a subsistence user of the land. Like, what's that look like for you guys?
What season do you want to start in?
Breakup. Yeah.
All right. So when I was a kid, let's say breakup is before the ice goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there would be a lot of people out ratting. So people out getting muskrats. Not so much anymore. Like I look at the muskrat houses and go, I wish I had more time to do that.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, as everything starts to melt, geese come through a lot.
Yeah.
So that's the amount of geese that get shot around the Venetie area and between Fort Yukon and Venetie. It feeds a lot more than just Venetie. Geese get sent to Arctic, to other villages, to Fairbanks. Just the amount of birds that pass through there in the springtime.
So you guys harvest them and then send them meat out?
Yeah, they get passed around to our family that lives all over the place. So
right on.
So yeah, that's kind of the first big. So I think I must have like about 4 or 5 geese, I think, somewhere in one of my freezers.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just leave the feathers on. Don't do anything to it. Just feathers in the freezer. And that's the best way to keep them from getting frost. Like freezer burn.
Right. It's kind of built in.
So it's even
built-in
better.
Freezer paper.
Yeah, it's even better than vacuum sealing, which is what we do quite a bit now.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But yeah, so then straight from geese hunting, everything is melting, and then the ducks come.
Yeah.
So the lakes are opening up, the rivers are opening up. River opens up before the lakes. So geese hunting, and as a kid, we would go to duck camp every spring, and we would shoot black ducks. Call them surf scotters, I think.
Yep. Oh yeah,
something like that. No, white wing scotter. Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah.
So we call them black duck or jaw. And so we'd hit that. And when I was a kid, in my teenage years, the amount of black ducks that I would harvest for my family would get passed out to most of Venetie. So yeah, it's a.
So you did pretty good.
If we try to put that on TV now, people wouldn't understand because they'd see all these birds that we're shooting, but they don't understand that it's feeding hundreds of people.
Right.
And so it's a.
Which is the point of subsistence.
Oh,
right?
Yep, exactly. So a lot of people can't hunt. People with single mothers, elderly people, people with disabilities, people that live in Fairbanks because they're infirmed and stuff, like all that gets spread out.
Yeah.
So we'd go up to duck camp with my parents and my family, and usually a few of my buddies, and live up there for a week and a half, probably.
Okay.
End of May into June, and that's what we would do is just hunt, just paddle and hunt, sit in the blind, 24/7 for those few weeks, which is always awesome.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, a lot of action, a lot of shooting.
Yep.
So you want to get into something with a lot of shooting? Yeah, duck hunting's the way to go.
There you go.
Yeah. And then from there, there's kind of a lull between there, and so that's like right after about the end of the first week of June ends, duck hunting stops.
Okay.
They have to be left alone. You have to leave them alone. If you don't, then it causes a wreck in this whole cycle of everything.
Yeah. Is that like a federal guideline or just more of an ethics thing?
It's just the village. They just kind of stop.
Gotcha.
As soon as the females start having eggs, we just stop hunting them.
Gotcha.
And it happens for different bird categories too. Like mallards, widgeon, canvasback. Okay, we stop hunting them first, and then it just kind of moves down the line. Scaup or alpine-cho and stuff, and down to black ducks or jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of the white wing scotter. So that's like the last one because they're the last to show up, the last ones to actually lay.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that kind of moves through. And then there's kind of a lull where a lot of people are working in June, getting ready for fish camps.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of started that up in like 2016 or something like that. We started to actually have a camp on the river.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, I remember we'd drive to Fort Yukon and or circle or just go on the river with my dad. I don't remember exactly what was going on most of the time. It was just you get in a boat.
Yeah.
And then you go somewhere. It was for church or for funerals, weddings.
Dad says get in the boat, so you get in the boat.
Oh yeah. Sitting in the front of my 22, picking off stuff as we're driving.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Sounds like a great
awesome.
childhood.
Yeah. I think all my money went to 22 shells and fishing hooks.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, a box of 122 shells was $5. So
yeah, the
we'd
good old days.
up and hauling wood and water and everything to get that. Yeah, and if you couldn't get that, the 50 round box was $3. So it's like, oh, we just got $2 more bucks. So let's go scrape together.
Yeah, it's about double that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I buy it in way bigger quantities than that now.
Yeah.
But
I imagine.
Yeah, but we spent a lot of time doing that. And so that was in the middle of June. And then king salmon fishing would start. And then so anywhere you go on the Yukon, they'd have these huge smoke caches, like 3-story high smoke caches.
Right.
Really? Massive things. And I remember it was so much fun if you just say, oh yeah, let's go. And so my dad would pull over and they would just walk in there, climb up a ladder and just grab like a big armload of fish strips.
Yeah.
It's like just eating way too much.
Oh yeah.
Like to the point that there's like getting too sick or like too much grease in it.
Right.
Too much fat. But yeah, that was that lifestyle, that part has been almost demolished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a big thing last several years.
Yeah. It's a lot of people have a lot of different views. We could have a whole nother podcast just talking about the fishing side of it and what my views are about it and what I've learned over the last, 15 or 14 years about talking with commercial fishermen going even that far back. And some of them from down the southeast side have known why these numbers have done this since decades ago. They knew it was coming just because it had happened to them in the past in the rivers around them.
Gotcha.
So I mean, it's
Yeah. Oh,
they're like, what happened? I was like, well,
yeah. I know. We're looking at bringing on somebody that's got a lot of information on that too for a future episode. So we'll
nice.
We'll have to bring you back and get some hands-on boots on ground experience there. Too.
Yeah. But so king salmon fishing would run from some nets would be in the water from the end of June until almost end of July.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Most of the fish that run through the Yukon flats come through between the first week of July and the third week. So that like 20 days right there, most come through. And then you have dog salmon filter through. So there'd be fish camps and building. So people are building cabins there was some when I was a kid, there were more people doing it, but people growing potatoes.
Okay.
Potatoes was a big thing in Venetie. It's kind of right on the edge of where you can grow any further north. It's just the soil isn't good enough and stuff. But the tonnage that came out of Venetie, in the 60s and stuff was like the farm like areas where the potato fields were bigger than the village.
Really?
Yeah. Like it was intense. It was some of these old pictures were just a massive amount of potato fields. And actually that's all washed away, I think, because they had cut down everything and then just grown potatoes.
Right.
So when the river had started to chew it away,
the erosion,
it just washed right through it. Right. They end up having to move Venetie from down on the river. And if you see in the videos, you'll see there's a cut bank, like a 20-something foot high cut bank. So now the village is on top of there. It'll never flood.
Right.
The Yukon flats would have to be completely covered in water for it to make it up that high.
Right.
So,
well, and I'm glad you guys were able to do that because I'll tell you, I went to Circle a couple of days after the flood they had this spring. Oh my goodness, man!
I heard some bad stuff.
They got demolished.
And if you've been to Circle, the river level of normal Yukon River, it is a hill up to that thing. So imagine that amount of water getting pushed up in there. Is a natural disaster.
when I was there were ice chunks sitting in the middle of town that were taller than me.
Jeez.
I mean, it was insane. So I mean, I'm glad you guys are protected from that.
They pulled out and knew enough. There's only one building left in the old village site, and it's the church.
Okay.
So it's the only one that wasn't cut up for firewood. So that's what kind of happened to most log cabins out there in the woods. Is that I remember thinking like, why is there only one cabin left? They tell stories of 5-6 cabins. They just cut it for firewood.
Yeah.
So that's why most cabins are gone.
Not the church though.
Yeah, not the church. Yeah. So going back to so king salmon fishing would happen. Dog salmon fishing would follow.
So what does that look like in like this year? Like what's that look like these days as far from the way it was back then? Like,
so now, yeah, no king salmon fishing.
No king salmon fishing. Yeah. Oh, you're good.
All right. So yeah, now there's no king salmon fishing most of the time allowed. There might be like a funny little kind of, it's been like 3 years, I think, since the last time there's been an actual opening.
Wow. Yeah.
So you're allowed to fish with, certain size mesh, like 4-inch mesh and stuff. And technically, if the fish is alive, you're supposed to put it back in the water and stuff. But
right,
it's it's damaged a lot of the culture on the Yukon. On the Chandalar, we do a lot of more hunting. Like hunting and fishing is a little different. On the Yukon, it's so much fish related.
Right. Yeah.
And at least in the Chandalar, we can go to where there's whitefish and stuff. We have access to that. Whitefish, sheepfish, pike, grayling. But some places on the Yukon where it's just mud. Like the only thing you're getting is king salmon. Like you might catch some, lush or something here and there.
Right. Yeah.
A lonely whitefish or something. But yeah, it's been devastating to a lot of native villages. And the amount of, so if I were to go, there's no fish they sell fish strips at the store in Venetie for, I don't know, $20 for like a little tiny pack with like 5 little strips in there.
No kidding.
And like actually, I'll even, in the wintertime, we'll even actually buy it.
Yeah.
So like if you haven't had any king salmon for a long time, it tastes good. But yeah, it's nothing compared to the real thing.
Right.
So the king salmon, yeah, it's really vital to a lot of villages, and it's really sad that it's gone the way it has.
Right. It's been a really sad thing to see.
So yeah,
go the way it has.
So as far as king salmon fishing, yeah, it's not. Right. And any of it that happens wouldn't be able to be talked about if it was. So,
right.
So that's kind of a hard one as well.
Yeah.
But having access to whitefish and other stuff, even in Fort Yukon, there's rivers close enough that people can harvest that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say replaces it, but at least helps some with the fish.
Supplements a bit.
Yeah. So Venetie grayling is a big one.
Okay.
So yeah, everyone loves grayling there. And I don't know. Grayling, king salmon. Yeah, they're pretty close to me.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare the grayling?
Fried. Mostly fried. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can bake it. You can put a stick in its mouth, wrap some, so I usually, whenever we take people out fishing on the Chandalar, I'll take them out and you just like a hot dog. You stick the grayling on there and then you just, to make it look cool, you go grab a couple little branches and you tie them around there. So it's like a hot, to keep the fish from falling apart. And you just roast it right on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
When we're doing it a lot, I'll clean a piece of baling wire real good. And then I'll reuse that same baling wire over and over on the fish.
There you go.
But so mostly it's all right on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So not the scale still on it. And so when it's done cooking, you just take the scales and everything. The skin just comes right off and you can just take a fork and just flake it right off. So yeah, grayling is it's a staple.
Yeah, good.
And this year was kind of a hard one too because our water level was higher all summer than it has been probably as long as I can remember.
Yeah, there was a lot of flooding up north too. Yeah,
there was a
lot of rain.
We put in some nets and thank God they didn't get washed away. Like 4 feet. Like the Chandalar is a weird one because the water can raise 4 feet overnight.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Where your net was could be where your net's not anymore. Wow. The next day, or you're like leaned over the front of the boat underwater, untying it.
Yeah.
So when you tie it, you better make sure that you tie it good enough that you can pull it apart. Pull that knot apart. Yeah.
How do you anchor the nets in the river?
You'll take a sack at the end, fill it with rocks. Some people will take like an old engine block.
Okay.
Cinder block, anything like that. Piece of old, concrete that has a piece of rebar sticking out of it.
Yeah.
Right. Or I remember as a kid, we'd be driving and you see like a bike frame at the bottom at the end of the fish net.
Yeah.
Just to anchor it off. But fishing is a whole thing up there.
I grew up doing the nets, set nets in the ocean, southeast, and we go down there and do that. And we tried the sacks with like sand in them at first, and like you get 20-foot tides down there.
Oh man, that's gonna.
So you actually go out on the flats. You walk out on the flats, set your nets. Oh. The water comes in. There's 20 feet of water on top of the flats.
Holy cow!
And then
that's awesome.
And then you go pick the net, in the last several feet of water, and you've got just enough room to float the boat.
Oh, nice.
And so you'll pick the net that way, and then you can pull in the net before
Awesome.
it gets covered in mud, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's really cool. Huh?
But with the sacks, like you just like the net would get ripped out if there was a rough tide. So we put these anchors you can drive down in the mud.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, if you can walk out there and set your
Right,
net, yeah,
exactly,
you can easily
exactly.
do that.
You probably
Right.
don't have that option up there.
Yeah, it's loose gravel under there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if your stake gets covered in water, you better drive another stake above it because
Gotcha.
as soon as that stake is in water, gravel that's
Mhm.
got water in it, it'll break loose.
So you're just setting off the shore then.
Yeah, off of gravel bars, off the tips
Yeah.
of gravel bars, and
yeah.
off of banks and
Mhm.
back sloughs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad. So they opened up dog salmon fishing this year for the first time in a year or two,
Okay.
and so my dad was fishing down there, and yeah, we had grizzly bears pulling the nets out, checking.
Really?
Oh.
So yeah,
Fishing trip turns into a grizzly hunt.
Yeah, so I got one video. I still have to edit together when the river was freezing, checking my dad's fish net, and yeah, one net was just pulled up on the bank. So
Wow.
Wow.
I actually forgot to tell you that we ended up shooting one of those grizz down by the river too.
Did you?
So, yeah. With my 450, yeah. So
Nice.
that 450 Bushmaster.
Yeah.
I put that little grizz down, no problem.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
that was a pretty cool one.
Yeah. I picked up an AR upper in one of those.
Oh, right
So
on.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking about
taking-
taking it into the bait this year.
Yeah, caribou, couple or grizzly bear, couple black bears with that 450. So yeah, it's a
Nice.
yeah. I mean, we're not lobbing around in 200 yards away,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the time, we're shooting bears like you're walking up to it in the brush. Shooting
Right,
it. So I
right.
mean that
Yo.
works fine.
Yeah.
And it passed right through that grizz at what, like 30 yards. So I mean,
nice.
Yeah, it passed through from front to back, neck through, and out the back.
Are you using
so.
the AR-15 version, or do you have the Ruger bolt action?
No, it's an AR-15 version.
AR-15.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I had one with a binary trigger one time, and the first round went off fine. The second one went pop up. And I was like, oh yeah, I switched it out. Just the recoil, thumb hit the safety
yeah,
and flipped
yeah.
it onto binary. So the second shot as the barrel was running away went pop up.
Hey.
But yeah, that's a good size. It's a good size round.
Yeah, I like that round.
And most of the bullets that we use up, probably the most used rifle up there is an AR-15 and 223.
yeah.
Really?
So I use like a Barnes Vortex.
Okay.
That's a good
55
one,
grain. Yeah. And it most bears I've shot with it, I've never even found a round in it. They just pass right through.
Yeah.
Just
solid round.
Yep. And so I've gotten a few different black bear hearts with the bullet hole, blown right through it.
Oh, nice.
That I'll stick in the freezer to show people when they come by.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's a good round.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Some people, I don't know. I guess the less you shoot, the bigger bullet you shoot, I guess. And I
You're
understand
right.
that too. Huh?
Yeah.
So I had someone ask me about that. I said, why do you use such a small round? And they explained it to me that if you shot your rifle at something once or twice a year, you
Mhm.
probably shoot with the biggest bullet you could.
Yeah.
You're not going to get another chance again. Huh? So
Yeah.
you better shoot with a round that'll do it in one shot.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of a lot has to do with range too.
Yeah.
If you're hunting an area, you got 200-300 yard shots, which you're probably going to take. AR-15 is going to be
no
Yeah.
problem.
Right. Yeah.
So I think, even like up there in the flats, it's a lot of like 200 yard shots
Really?
Mhm.
most of the time within about that range. I think I shot one, the furthest was about right under 400 yards, I think.
Okay.
And that was like, this is the only moose we've seen. He gets away.
Right.
We're probably not going to see it snowing.
Yeah.
Like if this moose walks across the gravel bar into the brush, we'll never see him again. So
yeah.
yeah, lobbed it in, and a 7mm took him. He's standing there as we walk up to him. And so,
Yeah.
it was good though. Yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely agree that that is a component of shooting a bigger round.
Yep.
That might be the only bear I see, or that might be the only moose I
only
see. And-
opportunity you get all year.
Yeah.
Huh? You're gonna
Yeah.
shoot
Yep,
something.
I've only got this weekend. I gotta make sure he goes down quick.
Yeah, the bull moose I shot this fall was about 80 yards off of a cliff or off of a kind of a bluff.
Mm-hmm.
Just not even very far up, just a little ways off the bluff. I'll have the video out in here another week or two.
Oh, perfect.
But I hit him in the neck with a 30-06, 180 grain
Wow.
round
Yeah.
nose, core lock.
There you go.
Yeah, hit him in the neck. He spun around, hit him on the other side, and his entire internal organ part, everything we harvested, all the stuff out from inside him. It was really, really good.
Perfect. Yeah.
We kind of got off track on the
We did.
year long subsistence.
Hey, no, it's all good. It's all good.
It's good though because we jumped from fishing to moose hunting.
Okay.
So in the meantime, there's caribou in the mountains. So up in Arctic Village. So that's where I went this in August.
Okay.
I went caribou hunting. So it goes, fishing. So everything in seasons happens. My people before schools, before villages, was moving. Our people were always moving from
Right,
camp
right.
to camp. Like every camp had a different purpose. They went down to towards the Yukon for the village was even called Fish Camp. It was actually called Fish Camp because that's what they did there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then they would move like Venetie, where they planted potatoes and had meetings, and it's like a base camp where the school was. And then they had camps up in the mountains for caribou.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, and then by the lakes during the spring for ducks and for muskrats, all the camps like we moved through. So even still today, we still do that. It's just, they're shorter trips.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it's a shorter trip down to the fish camp. It's a shorter trip up in the mountains to hunt moose. It's a shorter trip up to Arctic to hunt caribou.
That was
stuff
around
like that.
around statehood when they kind of started making more of the stable, like the single area kind of setups. Right around the
it's
50s,
schools
late
did it.
60s.
Yeah. So I think 40s. I think it started.
40s.
In Venetie.
Okay, yeah.
So with schools came the push for your kids need to be in school.
Right.
So before that, the villages were broken apart all over the place, and the reason it was that is if you stay in one place, you starve.
Right. Yeah.
So you're gonna be eating ground squirrel for every meal if you stay in one place.
Right.
Until there's no more ground
Right.
squirrels to eat.
Right.
So along with schools came part of the death of some of that culture of the traveling.
Right.
So some people I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain because some people you'll see how happy they are when they move to these different camps and they get like they don't even realize that they're carrying on that tradition of moving and hunting and harvesting and gathering and picking berries and like all this different stuff. But just 120 years ago or something, 100 years ago, my grandma was walking from village to village.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to have that kind of history.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we hit caribou in August, moose in September. Way before I was born, moose was hunted up into October.
Okay. Yeah.
So they would shoot a moose, cache it, and so they'd build a really specific we would build these. I haven't done it. So I want to do it someday. But they kill a moose and it was frozen. They could walk across creeks and stuff, and so they'd build it in a very specific way. They cache it up in a. They had special ways to, wrap the skin with a certain amount of this and that just to make sure animals couldn't get through it. And then by dog team, when food was running out in the villages, they would go out by dog team to go pick up those caches of meat.
Right on.
So it's I
mean, you live in a freezer, so.
Yeah. So then by that time, caribou sometimes pass down. And if they winter under the mountains there, you can go up with 4-wheelers and hunt caribou.
Okay.
So that's what I did last year in 2022. You'll see one where my daughter shoots a caribou.
Yep.
Because they wintered under the mountain there that year.
Yeah.
And they haven't made it there yet. We're kind of hoping they do. But it's kind of hit or miss. If we don't have caribou, the wolf trapping is a little better.
Okay.
Because they're a little more desperate for food.
Right.
So it's a give and take with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we'll move to go hunt too. So it takes it's a little ways to where caribou will be probably this winter.
Okay.
But you never know. They move a massive area really quick.
So do you do like an early and a late season caribou hunt?
Yeah,
Okay,
kind of. Yeah.
Yep.
And then caribou in the wintertime comes springtime, another one there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the caribou gets turned into dry meat. So I did that in my last video. I turned it into, I turned some into dry meat.
Oh, awesome.
But that's a good way to do it. That was kind of the traditional way. There's no, especially when you didn't have a way to freeze anything, you dry it.
Yep.
You put it on smoke. It's summertime, you put it on smoke and you dry it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
carrying that on. And it's like candy. Yeah, the way you can get into eating a bag of chips or popcorn, you can do the same thing with dry meat. It's just, oh man, I ate too much. I was like, that snack turned into a meal. Now I don't have any dry meat. I better go make some more.
Sitting there reading a book and just munching down, not even realize.
And then once moose hunting is done, kind of preparation in the village. You're getting wood for the house. You're getting everything, getting everything pinned up around your house for everything freezing up, and preparing for trapping. So trapping back in the day started earlier than most people do now. I usually start right after Christmas time because by then, lynx is perfect usually. Yeah, right around then. Wolf, Wolverine, all that kind of stuff is all primed by then. You could probably start way earlier. I want to every year. I want to. As soon as that season opens, I want to be out trapping and stuff. But there's always something that comes up. So usually my season starts right around Christmas. So usually like the day after Christmas, I'll have my first check. And so it's always nice. So it's like a Christmas present.
There you go.
Come around the corner and it's like, oh yeah. And it's always nice to see that Wolverine, that first check.
Yeah.
It's like, yes. So I've been blessed big time. Yeah. I've
awesome.
put in the work and I've been definitely blessed.
Perfect.
And so
Yeah.
it's nice to, when getting on video too, like having something to show.
You're right. Yeah.
So you put in all this work and filming and having a heck of a time trying to film with a GoPro that will run for all of 5-6 minutes in the cold. When it's like 50 below, it ain't running for more than 5 minutes.
No.
If it's out of your jacket for like 2-3 minutes, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's gonna freeze.
Yeah, that battery just can't hold up.
So my wife sewed me a pouch that sits inside, like on my chest, underneath my parka, Carhartt's, sweater, something like a flannel like this, and like underneath there. And then I just kind of stick the stick that I hold to, like,
Yeah.
there you go. Cheap tripod. It's just kind of inside here. So I just reach in like underneath my gear and I can pull it out. And I'll film a little clip here and there. Most of it, like if you watch that trapping stuff, it's within just like 20 seconds probably.
Yeah.
Unless I'm talking about something I've caught or trying to explain a set.
Right.
Stuff like that, which is kind of hard to do. It'll be easier if I do more of that when it's warmer. But yeah, usually I'm out there setting traps at 50, 60 below. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I was smart and I did that when it was, 30 below in beginning of December. It would be a lot easier. But yeah, I don't think I do stuff easy sometimes. If you can go out there trapping, do it. Like up there, everything's moving. It gets cold. Everything is moving nonstop. Some people say, you trap at 50 below, nothing's moving. I'm like, everything is moving. This is starvation country.
Yeah.
Everything is always moving. There's nothing that's
it's always
sitting,
looking around.
Yeah. The only things that sit still are what squirrels. So, and they're just running around too. So they're trying to find that stash they hid.
There's that one video you posted I was watching the other day, and you were feeding the squirrels.
Oh yeah. Oh, everything eats meat.
Yeah,
everything eats meat out there.
Yeah, tossing a little dried meat there.
Yeah, I've had moose tear into sets. I don't know. The meat's not there anymore, so maybe they ate it.
Wow.
Yeah. Like rabbits eat each other.
Oh yeah. They
Yeah.
will.
So I took some flack because I would tell people, like, I pull up to a set. Obviously, it was rabbit that got caught. There's 1 foot in the trap.
Right.
And not a piece of fur, anything, and it's all rabbit tracks. I'm like, rabbits are eating each other.
Oh yeah.
And people are like, no, they don't do that. And then a couple of years ago, my wife was watching something online and goes, you were right. And I was like, I knew it. It's like Billy over here is screaming. We got to cut that out.
Yeah. Well,
this is for the herd. Take them out.
Well, and that's just, rabbits are ruthless, man. So I used to raise, I come from more of an agricultural background, right?
Oh, right.
So, and when I was first up here in Alaska, I was kind of running like a little farmstead kind of thing. And we would raise rabbits for meat. So we had several different breeding trios, and you would breed them at certain times with certain different males and females and whatnot to keep the genetics right. And we learned early on you had to be careful letting the dogs go around the rabbit pens because you would get a litter of kits, and they're kind of like other animals. When they pop out, their eyes aren't open, they can't really move around very much. And if you let the dogs go in there near the rabbits, the mothers would actually eat their own young, because in the wild, that's a practice that they'll do if they feel like their den is compromised. There's predators around that don't want babies making noise. I mean, they'll straight up eat their own young. They are ruthless.
Bears will eat each
creatures.
other. Lynx is a bad one. Like if I'm trapping lynx and trapping hard, if I have snares set out, I'll put a trap nearby, because you catch a lynx in a snare and it's not 50 below. If 50 below, lynx gets caught in a snare, the next day he's frozen. Another lynx might chew on him a little bit, but he'll give up.
Really?
But if it's warm, if you have a snare pen out there, just go stick it, like, just a trap set right there at the corner. There's a little bit of caster on it. Like if one gets caught in that snare and someone comes along, eats it, at least you'll catch him too. And they actually, the young ones will get eaten by the mother too.
Yeah,
all the time. Same thing with bears. Bears will do that, eat each other.
They will.
So yeah, it's a survival of the fittest.
Dog eat dog world. Literally.
Cat eat cat.
Yeah, bear eat bear. Go on and on.
Thank God moose don't eat each other. We'd be really in trouble there.
You know what's funny about the moose thing is, do you trap very much with say, like, do you take, like, say, the moose lungs and use those for trapping bait for, say, wolves?
Yeah. So any bloodshot meat, any unusable parts of animals, a lot of people actually give them to me. So if someone says, like, oh, hey, I found this bag of whatever, it's freezer burned, do you want it? I'm like, oh yeah.
You're right.
Because like the best trapping bait, because I used to take time and make bait stink.
Yeah.
I'd get meat and I'd sour it a little bit, or fish, and like just spend so much time putting in totes and making sure it stunk and all that. And with Wolf and Wolverine, fresh meat, red meat, no smell on it. I mean, you'll get more wolverine on just straight, at least where I'm at. I guess it's always different because people tell me, oh, it doesn't work this way where I'm at and stuff. And you get that red meat out under, like behind a 330, and a wolverine's going to come stick his head in there.
Really?
If it stinks, if there's fish, if you use fish somewhere not near the river, they'll just pass by. They're like, that's not right. That's not going to work. Like, there's no fish here.
Yeah, they get smart a little bit. Yeah.
Even ducks near lakes. It's like, it's like, how does the animal think that that duck is like, I've used that for bait before. And it's like, the animals like come by and it's like, you have it a couple miles from the lake and they come by and you just see like tracks just continue on. There's like, part of the duck carcass there, duck guts, like, a pile.
Right.
Like, nope. No, thank you.
Say with the moose, with the moose guts, trapping, say with moose guts or whatever you're using there. One thing, at least we've noticed around here, talking to trappers, and I grew up trapping with my dad. And when you have a wolf set or wolverine set with moose, you're a lot more likely to catch a moose in a snare on that kind of set than you are on a caribou set. Like moose only go to, you only catch moose, unless you catch a moose in a random snare, right?
Right. Yeah, incidental catch.
Most of the ones I've seen that torn on my sets were cows with calves.
Really?
I don't know why, but so some of the moose, so what I do with my line too, is I don't have huge bait stations. So what I'll do is I'll kind of seed my line. So if you're watching the videos, I'll have some areas that I bait, a decent amount every single time, or every 330. When I pass that 330, I'm throwing another chunk of meat, just even a little small piece in there every time, just to continue that raw, like that red meat smell.
Freshen it up.
Yeah, to freshen it up. Or I'll just throw it nearby as I pass.
Yeah.
But I'll actually drive down the trail while throwing it in certain areas, so they'll start digging. Like as the animals dig down and kind of make their own set locations. So then I set a trap on it. That works great for fox. Because fox up there are really, really wary too. But if you have a spot or you bury, what I'll do is even just a small piece of bait, I'll dig a hole down through the snow and then chop into the ground and then throw just a couple of, not very much, just like maybe like, half a pound of like, whatever kind of meat it is, and just kind of pound that into that hole and then cover it up with the dirt, pound that flat, and then just shovel snow on top of it, and they'll make their own set locations. Kind of like dirt hole sets down in the south, what I've seen on TV or on YouTube. But similar to that, also like a pile of snow where they're digging, and then put a trap right on top of that. And it works pretty good.
Let's take a really quick break, and I want to hear about how your season went. Hammer Bullets produces what we at the Northern Hunter consider to be the most premium and best working monolithic bullets on the market today. These bullets are easy to load, extremely accurate, and best of all, they're always in stock and ready to ship. The guys at Hammer designed them so that after penetrating the hide of an animal, it sheds its petals, initiating a massive energy dump while retaining the rear shank for maximum penetration. These bullets are built with 100% focus on how they perform on game, and their proprietary designs produce great BCs with specialized pressure grooves for amazing inherent accuracy and speed. They have a minimum expansion velocity of 1,800 feet per second, which allows for long-range shots, but with no maximum velocity, making them perfect for every cartridge from your granddaddy's old 30-30 to the high-velocity round like the Weatherby 30-378 without having to worry about your bullet failing. To view their expansive selection and find the perfect match for your hunting needs, go to hammerbullets.com and use discount code TheNorthernHunter to drop the hammer on your next adventure. All right, so you've given a good breakdown of the world you live in and the lifestyle up there and the cycle of subsistence living. I want to hear how your season went, though. You got a lot of cool videos up on YouTube right now, about your hunts and things like that. How did you do this last year?
So 2023. So trapping started off like almost 2 weeks later than normal.
Right. Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Almost in the middle of January when I started actually catching stuff. So more than 2 weeks late.
Wow.
But it caught up quick. So caught a few links right off the bat. I think my second episode, I lost the video.
Oh no!
Yeah, they got corrupted or something.
Really?
Yeah, but by the time I'd filmed the third episode, I don't think I had that much time lapse between those ones.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm starting off the episode and it's like, oh, here's the links I caught last week on the video that is gone now, that doesn't exist in the world.
Oh no.
Yeah. So links, and then so about the same number. The area I trap, it gets me about 6 or 7 wolverine every year.
Okay.
Pretty consistently.
Wow.
So like if I want to catch more, I have to go further.
Yeah.
So if I bump out a little further, maybe I'll tack on another one or something like that. But I'm pretty consistent. 4 years now, I think, with 6 or 7 every year.
Nice. That's pretty
So,
good
yeah,
turnout.
And it's been perfect though, because the amount of filming I did, the animals I caught, the wolves I caught, the wolverine, the lynx, a couple of marten I caught and stuff like that, it worked out really well. And so I couldn't ask for a better trapping season for filming.
Right.
And just for in general. So it worked out really well. The first year the 2022 one was a little lighter on the videoing.
Okay. Yeah.
But this year went really good. So so I think I got 6 wolves, 6 wolverine, 10 lynx or something like that. I didn't try to catch them. They just come and die in my sets. And there's no way I'm releasing anything. If I caught it, it's gonna get skinned. It's gonna get put up.
Right.
But yeah, it went great. So
good.
I was able to catch a lot of cool stuff. I was able to catch a wolf in the trap on video. A lot of that stuff I can't really show, shooting or dispatching and stuff. Like, I just don't do it just because I think it's I don't know. I think there's a lot of people I would rather not see it.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it a little, more PG.
Right. Yeah.
But
I've noticed that in your videos. Yeah.
But it's really good though, because I have people are telling me like, finally a trapping channel I can watch with my kid. Like, you're not cussing all the way through it and stuff.
Right.
I'm like there's just no. And most of that stuff, most of the stuff, I've caught and all that. I've done it before, so I mean, you can only be so excited about stuff. But I'm not going off the wall cussing about something I caught.
Right.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's normal, but I mean, it's doing this long enough that it's normalized. But yeah, it went really good. I didn't catch an otter this year. It's been a couple of years since I caught one, but I did try pretty good.
Did you?
In some otter slides? Yeah. Pretty far back away from rivers and stuff. But yeah, it went really well. The amount of video I got, the amount of interaction with the people out there, a lot of people from all over the world, New Zealand and all over the East, a lot of East Coast, a lot of people on the East Coast watching, and everybody just loves Alaska stuff.
Yeah.
So just by slapping Alaska on the front of my YouTube videos, it just blew it up too. So yeah, it was a pretty awesome one. I had a lot of fun. Editing is a hard one. So especially if you have B-roll or too much kind of filming done, especially driving, because I don't want to put too much.
Right.
I don't want to kind of have those channels where all I'm doing is driving.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like, I like those.
It's kind of more realistic though.
Yeah. And so some people are like, your videos are boring. Like, you're not enough action. I'm like,
it's real life.
Do you want me to put the whole 12-hour day on there? It's not gonna. You're not gonna have any action going on. Right. But that's just trapping, though. But it worked out really well, though. I've been blessed with a lot of support, a lot of people that enjoy watching what I do and enjoy just the interaction with them. It's been really nice.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So this year was the first year I really kept anything. So I was able to keep some wolverine and stuff. And some of the wolves weren't going to sell. Like, certain animals just don't, if they're too young or too beat up.
Right.
The woods is a rough place for an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get tore up.
Yeah.
They tear each other up. I've gotten wolverine that are full of porcupine quills and full of.
Oh, no kidding.
I caught one wolverine 2 years ago. It looked like someone had shot him half a dozen times with a 22. But what I'm guessing is that a wolf had got on him and started biting him, because he had holes all up inside of his rib cage, like into his
wow,
all into the cavity in there. I'm like, what in the world?
Wow.
And you can see like the ones that had really been damaged because their back legs are the ones that are chewed up. So like a wolf or another wolverine got a hold of them when they were younger and just shook them.
Man,
all just scarred up.
Yo.
Yeah, and then some of them I found that have 2-3 inch long jagged scars across their bellies or backs, where something had opened them up. Or
it's amazing what animals can survive just keep going.
A friend of mine, an older guy in Venetie, guy I learned a lot from. He caught a wolverine the other year, and it just had a bone sticking out one foot. It just a bone sticking out. And he said that wolverine was fat. Nothing wrong with it.
Really?
Completely just
kept on
some
living.
of the roughest wolverine and wolves I've ever caught were the best fat content of the animal was amazing. Huh? So you got this wolf or wolverine that just looks completely tore up, is missing claws, missing teeth. His one side eye probably didn't work anymore, and he's just fat.
He's the mean one that got the food.
Yeah. They're just the wily ones. They know where to get, they know how to survive.
Right. Yeah. Fighters.
It's pretty cool though and to be able to share that with people on the outside has been awesome too.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And this next season is going to be pretty good. I'm going to do a lot more trapping, a lot of different species.
Mhm.
So not like last year was like wolf and wolverine trapping because that's really what I was trying to hit.
Right.
But this year, there's going to be probably more fox trapping. I'd like to do that in December probably.
Okay.
So the fox that I usually catch, like get caught in snares and stuff, and later in the year, they're usually not that great a shape. Fox kind of, their pelts kind of burn out like by February, March. Yeah, they're pretty rough.
I've heard they have a real short prime cycle.
Yeah, so you catch them in. So my very first fox, I caught it in a rabbit snare made of picture wire. Yeah, and I must have been, I don't know, 8 or something like that.
Really?
It was like one of the first times that I'd went out checking my rabbit line that led away from my house out of town without like a couple of my older buddies, like the 3-year older buddies that kind of took me out. Like after my dad helped me set it and they come out with me. And I think, it might have been one of the very first times I checked my line because I came around the corner and there was a fox looking back at me. Yeah. So I thought that was so cool. I'd run back to the house and get the 22.
Yeah.
Because I was even at that age, like, like it was too cold really to even bring the 22 with.
You're right.
You just walk up, you just bop the rabbit and then you just pull on their heart and kill them or step on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. And that was that year. I shot another fox outside my parents' house. And the coolest thing is when my grandma had moved away from the village and I moved into her old house, in a garment bag hanging in the back corner of her house, I found 2 fox pelts. And those were those 2 fox pelts I'd given her when I was
really?
That's
like awesome.
That was like probably 96, maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really awesome one. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's a cross fox and a red fox in here. Like, what? I know that. Like, why would she keep it? And I was like, that was like my very first 2 I ever caught, or caught and shot. But yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Right on. So then you said you guys have a spring duck season as well.
Yeah.
Did you guys clean up on that one this year?
Yeah, we did pretty good. Most everybody was working by then too, so there was no camping out there. Okay. Like we used to do when we were kids and stuff. Right. But I took my daughter out, I took my buddy out. I got both of those on video. So that one, those two turned out pretty good. They're both on YouTube. But one with my daughter, she shot pretty good. She had a brand new 20 gauge semi-auto. Okay. And so, she did pretty good with that. That was fun to watch. So, And so, we got at least, 2 videos that I actually put out of duck hunting. So, those ones turned out, really nice.
Yeah. I see the one here, ducks, dogs, and ATVs. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. Or actually, that might have been from 2022.
This one says 2023 summer projects.
Oh, yeah.
Part 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're busy. There's so many different projects going on at the same time, especially when you're breeding and running and training sled dogs. Yeah. In the meantime of doing all the other stuff.
Well, that's another thing we haven't talked about is your sled dogs.
Yeah. So we ended up having a couple more. On kind of accident. But
dogs will do that.
So in 2018, my grandmother's brother, we call him in Gwich'in lifestyle way, like my grandpa's brothers and sisters are all my grandparents. Okay. So I call him my grandpa. But he's been breeding dogs. Oh man. I know he started later in life, but still like 30 years probably. Yeah. Yeah. And so we wanted a dog for my daughter. We bought one of his sled dogs off of him. And when COVID came around, we're like, hey, maybe we need dogs. Maybe we should have some dogs. Because I always planned on doing it by the time I'm 40. And that was 3 years ago? 3 years ago. So I was 32 at the time. And I was like, it came on a little faster with COVID and everything. Maybe it'd be good to have another way to get around. Yeah. And it's and it just happened. It worked out just right. They got, had pups and they're awesome pups. And that's kind of my main stock, those 4 pups. They're not pups anymore. They're 3. Yeah. Going on 3 years. Yeah. They just turned 3 years old. Yeah. Yeah. And so then we bred one of them with a lead dog that I had bought from a buddy of mine in Fort Yukon that comes from good stock. Good. So we've just kind of started our own kennel here from my daughter's kennel. Nice. So it's pretty cool. Being able to share a lot of that hasn't been too easy because people have some strong feelings about dogs.
Yeah, there's varying opinions on it. Yeah.
When I was a kid, everybody had dogs. Right. In the village, I mean, there was probably a dozen teams across town easy. Like it seemed like everybody had dogs. But the cost cost prohibitive is the biggest part. It's
Yeah.
expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like a bag of dry dog food in Venetie is like $100
Wow.
for like a 50-pound bag. I just got done buying 4 44-pound bags. By the time it makes it to Venetie, shipping and the cost here is like
Mhm.
65, 67
Man.
bucks a bag. But that's almost half the price of that same bag of dog food in Venetie.
Right, yeah.
So at the store there. So yeah, it's
It's the-
dog mushing is pretty fun though. Like dogs, I just love dogs. Like,
right, yeah.
I'm not a cat person. I trap cats.
Yeah. There you go.
But dogs are always a lot of fun. So we'll be putting more of that online this winter.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I hope people enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think some will, some won't. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
they can click on the next video. It's not hard.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's part of the Alaskan life.
Yeah.
It
Right.
really is. You
So
know,
the more I can show of our life, the better.
right, yeah.
And I hope to do more kind of around village stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
like and more cultural tools and weapons kind of stuff.
Oh,
I was
awesome.
hoping to do more of that this summer, but
Right.
with work and,
Mhm.
and the political side of being the chief and stuff, you run out of time pretty quick.
Right.
Like you said, you're catching up on the season you just had. So,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
burning out of that one
Right.
and heading into the next one. So yeah, but
Just
it's good though.
Trying to make sure your shoelaces are tied by the time you get there.
Yeah. So yeah, look. Yeah, anyone that's out there, look for the dog mushing stuff this winter. That should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, my
Well-
daughter will be more in that one and more of those videos then too.
Perfect. Well, it looks like even with all that work going on, you still made it out to do some caribou and moose hunting.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a couple of those. You teased there's another moose hunting video coming out.
Yep. Yeah. So I spent like an hour.
Oh. Sorry, that was my my laptop.
Good song.
Wow, James. Wow.
Good song.
Yeah. It's your video.
Oh, nice. Oh, on the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love the river. Yeah. I started a series on there. I haven't kept up with it very well, but I just called it Open Roam. So it's just like if you're looking for something where you're just driving or something, that's what I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
So it's kind of an easy filler video I can just throw out
Mhm.
of driving and send some music in the background. I've been hit by copyright crap because of that.
Oh yeah.
So any videos I come out with now like that, I'll have something that I purchased online, so it's not
Yeah.
going to bother me.
We'll
Right.
talk after the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. we'll
But
get you.
I worked for an hour and a half. About there last night editing. One moose hunt over 2 hours of footage.
Wow.
So, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of hard to delete that.
Mhm.
But I'll work pretty hard on it. I'll shoot for Saturday, and if that doesn't work, the next Saturday, I still have a video of doing setting up for trapping that I haven't dropped yet. Just kind of, if I need to, it's there. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to
Right.
drop something every Saturday just to be consistent for the algorithm and stuff.
Yeah, that's
and
all
just have it
important.
dropping every week.
Yeah,
And getting people
yeah.
used to that. I was doing that for a minute there, having something drop and then doing a live stream right after.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, trying to have more feedback from people.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a lot of fun. So yeah, the moose hunt went really good though. That was a lot of fun. We drove up in
Good.
the mountains and spent couple days hiking, calling, glassing, not seeing anything. Kind of feeling like, oh man,
Yeah.
watching all the tracks going one direction downriver and wondering what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 5:30 in the morning, about 9:15, somewhere in there, it's getting dark. I'm coming off of the bluffs and I hear something way in the distance, kind of like, was that something or was that, am I hearing something?
Yeah.
It's brush thrashing miles away. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, that's awesome. So I did some cow calling along the way, kind of leading back to where camp is. And 5:30 in the morning, we're sleeping in the boat and it's an all-weld 22-foot all-weld with a canopy on there. So it's like
nice.
plastic. You can see through it and stuff. So it's kind of hard to hear out of it.
Right.
But it's enough to 5:30 in the morning have me sit up and go, what was that?
yeah.
Like that bull is back there beating up bushes,
Wow.
just pissed off.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Nice.
it worked out nice. Yeah. The sun came up. We called a bit, and he walked right out where I hit him at 80 yards and pulled the boat up within 10 feet of it. And
Awesome.
yeah,
There
so
you-
that's going to be a good one.
that's an easy pack out.
Oh
That's
man, yeah, beautiful pack out. So yeah, you talked about caribou hunting too. Yeah, we went. So a lot of the traveling we do through the villages is a lot for funerals. It sucks, but that's how it
Okay.
is. We go to one
Right.
village. We don't have a lot of time to spend in other
Mhm.
places. So when it happens, it's usually for that.
Right.
So we actually got a chance to go to 2 different weddings, one in Fort Yukon and one in Arctic. So that had
Okay.
perfect timing. The caribou the caribou had started filtering through.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a time to harvest some caribou there. So yeah, we got some, and that was that turned out really nice. Those 2 videos turned out pretty good. I got them on YouTube. The second one had a little more butchering than I usually do. So I don't really do a whole lot of butchering on my channel. Just something I didn't do. But this one has done more, and I've gotten nothing but positive feedback about it.
Yeah.
So,
it's a real part of the process.
And the video is still carrying on online. So I mean,
yeah,
people must like it.
There you go.
I still can't show all of it because people will probably get mad about it.
Right.
But and then some people that don't understand. Yeah, they try to say about this and shooting that and stuff, and it's like, But then I explain. I'm not going down there being pissed off at people, but if someone says something and I have a reason why I did it that way, I'm going to explain it.
Right.
And if they don't like it, then they don't like it.
Right. And everybody's.
But I try to be pretty clear and concise about what I did and why I did it. So if you see me shooting extra time, I didn't do it for nothing.
Right.
I did it so I don't have to chase that, one more shot isn't ethical. Well, one more shot is what it took to kill that caribou quicker.
Right.
So if you're killing an animal quicker, then that's the ethical part to me.
Exactly.
It is.
Exactly
Absolutely.
right.
You'll get all the support from us on that.
So that was a fun one. Driving up into the mountains above Arctic. Arctic is just beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't, I've only been there 3 times in my life. And I don't know why, because it's so close. And it's part of our people's land and stuff, and the same tribe, but just no time. We hit the river, everything's downriver from any time. And it's a 140-mile trip up into the mountains through some bad rock.
Yeah.
We'll go about 120 miles, no problem. It's easy. And then, the boulders start popping out. I'm like, that's this 30-year-old or 40-year-old all weld will get tore apart up here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Well, yeah.
I'll drive someone else's boat.
Arctic's pretty high up there on the river system.
So 1,600
shallow.
feet. We went up and shot a moose up there, and we climbed, at least 1,600 feet, probably sliding down. When you're coming down out of the mountains, you're sliding. You can feel it. You can feel the weight go to your heels because the boat is coming down at such an angle.
Wow.
It's fun. Yeah. But going up, it's the exact opposite because you're slow. You're pushing, a couple drums of gas and climbing.
Yeah.
It's great. Arctic was a lot of fun. A lot of family, a lot of friends up there, and a lot of support.
Good.
Yeah. A lot of political support. A lot of it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So. And you're right. Absolutely right. That is a beautiful, beautiful place.
Oh, that's scenic from mountain to mountain across. Yeah, that sucker is scenic. I've never been to the Grand Canyon, but I'd imagine it would look somewhat like that.
Right. And the one thing I'll say too about Arctic Village in the village itself is I love the I don't even know what you'd call it, but the stick architecture. There's so many different things all over town. They got that mural there in on the main road. And it's all just made with lodge poles.
Yeah.
It's all just tied. It looks so, it's just so genuine, and it's so pretty to build stuff that way.
The difference in the altitude, moisture, all that stuff up there just doesn't rot the same way. Like in the flats of Venetie, there's a cabin that sat there 30 years ago. It's gone. The ground ate it. The ground ate it back.
Right.
Yeah.
But up there, there's old campsites and stuff up into the rock mountains, where there's nothing. There's still sticks standing from, 100 years ago and stuff like that.
That's one of my
petrified wood and stuff that's up there still. That's awesome.
Yeah,
pieces of old caribou fencing and stuff. This is just
one of my favorite parts about going up there. It's really awesome country. So if anybody wants to see those hunts, they can go to your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, Enigmatic Gwich'in. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. come check out our life. It's a fun one.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up Monday is, so we've talked a lot about the hunting. Go into a bit about the differences in subsistence harvest. What are you taking off the animal that is kind of specific to the subsistence life and things like that maybe somebody in Fairbanks or Anchorage that goes out and hunts, might think isn't worth taking out of the field that you guys utilize? From
antler to hoof, to guts, to stomach lining. Yeah, just about the entire thing comes back. Yeah. Some of the guts will get washed, turned inside out, cleaned. Another reason why we don't shoot a lot of animals in the chest, in the heart, where I see these videos on YouTube, where will you shoot? And I'm like, in the neck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's not good. And I'm like,
it does the least damage.
That heart gets cooked. That heart goes to an elder. That kidney, that part of the stomach lining goes to an elder. That bull didn't pass front to back through the chest. unless there was no choice, I probably would never shoot something straight on just because I don't want to damage anything inside.
Yeah,
sure.
But if that's the shot you got to take it too, though.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
you have the round that can do it. But yeah, just about everything gets pulled out. Like, I mean, just about maybe lungs is the only thing that, and like that can be used as bait and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless you're getting a lot of caribou or something, where some parts of the stomach and stuff will be left just for birds and stuff, it's hanging out for animals to eat.
Yeah.
But nothing gets wasted. Even the stuff that gets left behind, if there's any, gets eaten too.
Yeah.
Right.
Giving back. Yeah.
But yeah, so even like the stomach lining, the lining that's around the intestine and stuff, all that fat, all those layers of fat with caribou and with moose. I've heard people say different stuff about moose and caribou fat and all this. It all gets brought back.
Yeah.
And so when I was a kid, there was a lot of elders that would tan moose skin, caribou skin. There's not as many that do now, but there's a lot of it that gets brought back for other uses. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more work, that's for sure. Bringing everything, bone, fur, everything, the whole thing gets brought back. It's a lot more work.
Yeah, it is.
I see some videos where there's boning going on, and I kind of feel bad. I understand, but like to me, like I'd have a hard time doing that. And I understand where people can't bring it back. There's not possible.
Right. Well,
It's not feasible to bring it back, and a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, and a lot of the times when I've seen it, at least, you know, and when it makes more sense to me is when people are on like fly-in hunts.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody flew out with a super cub or hiking 25 miles.
Like they can't do it.
Right. Yeah. You know, that extra.
They're not parking the boat 10 feet from it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, my wife and I, we really try to kind of mimic that as much as we can and pull as much of the resource out as we can.
Yeah, because a lot of that bone goes into soup.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah,
that's
great.
Turns into
stuff.
broth. Yeah, and people make stock out of it and stuff.
Well, and it's amazing how much you get out of just one vertebrae.
Yeah.
You know,
that's almost one pot of soup.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, my dad will have that slow cooking on there for all day sitting on the stove.
Yeah.
And it's just it's awesome.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. Yeah, and then the fat. Yeah, keeping the fat.
Yeah.
We like to do that. Kind of keeping the fat with the animal it came with, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of look at it.
It gets bagged up with it, yeah.
Or
it gets ground with.
That's the fat that God intended to go with this meat, right? Yep. That's the way it's supposed to be.
It's perfect for burger meat, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we just finally got into that because most of it gets turned into fry, soup. So separate from soup, like boil meat, stew meat, like pressure cooked meat, like it's all bagged separately so you know what you're cooking.
Yeah.
But now like we finally got into ground, like you guys kind of got me into thinking about it. Like I gotta ground some meat.
Yeah.
Now it's just so much easier to cook it too, though.
It is.
Cook a hamburger helper if you wanted to, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
As before my wife, I just fried everything. I lived on fried meat and potatoes.
Hey, that's not a bad diet.
I didn't have a very varied like meal like horse selection going on.
Right.
I cooked meat and I ate it.
There you go. That is some true Alaskan.
It's opened up a bit now.
Yeah.
I don't have that iron gut to eat that fry meat that's turned into dry meat off the stove now.
Yeah. So go into a little bit about the stomach stuff, because so that's kind of, I don't know if I've seen a lot of people talk about what to do with the stomach, but I've seen like people eat it, people use it for filtering. What's the process of like bringing the stomach back and prepping it?
It so on the spot when it happens, getting all the stomach acids and stuff. Because if you don't do that, it'll sour.
Okay.
So it'll sour pretty quick if you put it, especially if you put it in a trash bag and think it's gonna make it home. Like that sucker's gonna get
that
stomach acid starts eating it. So turning it inside out, part of the intestines, not a lot of the intestines, but a lot of the fat from around the intestines. You just gotta make sure that you don't cut through anything. When you're cutting it up, you got to be very, very careful. That knife doesn't slip, and you piss, the urine or fecal matter gets in there. And stomach, that's another thing. You shoot it in the chest. Some of that other stomach inside is going to spill out across stuff, and it's going to make it taste different. And growing up, like that was kind of the smell because all the elders would cook stomach, the stomach, because you turn it inside out, wash it, and then they dice it up really small and then make soup out of it.
Okay.
Along with moose head soup. So it'd be added to soups and stuff like that. So that's, it's pretty cool.
It's almost like Alaskan dumplings.
Yeah.
Like Alaskan, I don't know what you'd call it.
So we're actually going to, one of my dad's friends, I call him uncle, but Yeah, he was talking about trying to get that on video, exact
Oh, that'd
process.
be
Because a lot of it, I'm just cleaning it and bringing it home. They cook it.
Mhm.
Mhm,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm just bringing it back.
yeah.
Because they want it. So I mean, he's talking about making a video sometime this winter about actual preparation of the stomach line, the stomach lining, and all that. So
Mhm.
that'll be a pretty cool. Like, I hope he lets me film it.
Yeah, that'd be
I mean,
great.
he probably will.
I
So
would
as long
watch
as it
that
works
over
out,
and
yeah.
over.
Yeah, so we get a good wintertime moose hunt going.
Mhm.
So yeah, that'll probably turn out just awesome.
yeah.
So yeah, a lot of all the way down to like the hooves and stuff from moose. Growing up, you would see smoke caches with just a bunch of caribou hooves,
Mm.
moose hooves with the tendon that's connected to it.
Mhm.
They'd have that tendon right here, and it's kind of a loop, and they would just hang it up. So
Mm.
hard time comes, you boil that hoof, and you boil that hoof for. I mean, you don't boil it for hours; you boil it for like days, and it turns into a gel.
Yeah,
It comes
right,
apart, turns
right.
into a gel, and it will the broth will sustain you in hard times. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right
Kinda-
on. That's
need to have people do that more often.
yeah.
I mean, it's a hard way to think because we hope that never happens. But growing up, my great grandma was always like, you need to be ready.
right.
So it's not prepping; it's just life. You need to have enough
Absolutely.
ammo, fish nets, fish hooks,
Yeah.
just everything that you can possibly have ready. You can never have enough.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a crazy way to think or to live. That's how it is up here.
Mm-hmm.
And so if city people look and see like, oh, he bought 1,000 rounds of this, or piles of those traps, or
Yeah.
boxes of fish nets, like, no, that is something that the planes stop coming. That's bad.
Right.
And
Yeah.
like my grandpa, my grandma told me times back in the 40s, like during World War II, and that happened, the planes stopped coming
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's like,
And then you're out there all by yourself.
yeah, we gotta have the tools to
Yeah.
survive. And so we need to
absolutely.
get more into farming, like more potatoes and doing
Mhm.
stuff like that. That's what I need to. We've done that in the past years, year here, year there, like little small
Mhm.
potato gardens and stuff. But we need to get on top of that a little more. So that's a resource that can be tapped
Yeah.
into when needed.
Right.
So yeah, I got a buddy out in North Pole. He has a channel called Southern Roots, Alaskan Branches.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he had a huge, not huge, but like compared to anything Venetie, a big potato garden. And he got like 1,700 pounds of potatoes and stuff. Like that.
Wow.
Just awesome. Out of like this little corner, of his property is like pumped out that kind of potatoes. I'm like, man, that's awesome. And he actually does raises rabbits too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
breeds rabbits for meat rabbits and stuff like
Yep.
that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's I might have to throw the next couple of hooves I put down in the freezer just in case,
Well, just hang 'em
fall.
somewhere. Yeah.
happened,
Yeah,
but-
so you just cut the bone and just leave that one tendon that's connected to the hooves,
Mhm.
and yeah, just go and hang
Yep.
it up somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so
Well, they could use that
normally
for bait too. Like animals come chew on it. Wolverine,
Yeah,
Wolverine will eat anything.
I was gonna say I always bring the hooves out, but I normally donate them to friends of mine that
Oh, nice.
that hunt or that trap, and
Oh,
then they'll
cool.
use them for
Yeah.
bait and lure and stuff. So it'll be it always gets utilized.
Yeah,
but
like the neck, head, like skin, like that's probably one of the best trapping baits.
Mm.
I did something about it, the fat in the nose
Right,
and all that.
right.
Like that piece of skin is even in Venetie, that's like a prized piece of trapping bait. Like, oh, I got a moose head skin for you. And it's like, yeah,
Right.
that's getting hung up in a tree.
Yeah.
Something's gonna eat that.
Yeah.
There's
And-
gonna be a Wolverine coming for that.
And just out of curiosity, what do you guys use hides for primarily up there? Like when you bring the caribou hides back and whatnot, is that used for like blankets?
So caribou mostly now is used for they turn into like sleep rolls,
Okay.
like a bed, bedding.
Yep.
So when you go camping and stuff, like the three caribou I harvested this summer or fall,
Mhm.
they all got I just used like sheetrock screws, stretch it out on the side of the cache, and then scrape all the everything off of it, the membrane, all that.
Right,
It
yeah.
all,
Get-
any kind of meat, fat, it all gets scraped off,
Good fleshing job.
trimmed up, just turned into a bedroll.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Trapping bait is the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So skin, like you bait their line with skin, the Wolverine just love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll eat that fur. Wolves go crazy. I've trapped wolves, and the entire stomach is full of hair.
Yeah.
And that's something that's not even from my trap. Like
Well,
they eat
yeah.
that off of the dead moose somewhere.
yeah.
Like their stomachs are they can handle that. They getting something out of that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't eat it
Right.
if they weren't getting something from it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's most of the hide stuff. If someone asks for a certain hide, They say, I want this, I want that. There's not a whole lot. There's just not as many people doing that anymore. But there's still some out there that will get a skin to. Or my mom, tan skin, a little slower than she used to, just because she's busy working too.
Right.
But yeah, she came to Venetie in like 82 or something as a school teacher. And 8 years later, I came out.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, she learned from my great grandmother.
Oh, perfect.
So when I was a kid, she'd be outside, scraping away with a bone, like chisel looking thing. And scraping the membrane off of skin and taking it down and sinking it in a puddle for, a few days, bringing it back and scraping. And
yeah.
It's a lot of work. I mean, that is back-breaking work, tanning, brain tanning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of tanning is hard work, but doing it by hand, like a moose skin is huge. You feel like the one on the side of my house, that thing is almost 8 by 9 probably.
Oh yeah.
That's like, it's huge.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah.
That one was an extra big one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so cutting the hair off and turning it, tanning it and stuff up. Now, like even some commercial stuff out of Canada costs over $3,000 for one tan skin. And like the stuff my wife makes, like we call them Gwich'in canvas boots made with moose skin and stuff. I mean, that just the skin on those boots, and I've showed it on my YouTube channel last winter. You'll see it on some of those. I show some of the gear I have. But those canvas boots, it doesn't really look like that much fur, but the thing has hundreds of dollars worth of moose skin on it.
Really?
Wow,
not including the time it takes to sew it together, the canvas, the $100 sorrel insole in it. Like you're looking at like a $500 pair of boots. So when I show that pair of canvas boots on there, and that's what I trap with most of the winter. So I don't want to wear rubber out there on the ground.
Right. Yeah.
And bunny boots and stuff, I'll use that for working around town and stuff, but I really don't like using them out in the woods.
Well, they transfer a lot of scent.
Yeah. Well, see, like funny thing too with rubber is like I spray everything of mine down with scent killer stuff. So the day before I hit the line, I bring it in, hang it above the stove, spray it all down. All my gear, boots, moose skin boots, all gets sprayed. And I have seen that it's working better. Like wolves will come closer to my sets and stuff. I'm a little picky on who comes with me sometimes. Not many people want to go.
Right.
But it's kind of hard though too, because every step I take off of that snow machine is deliberate. I don't step right there unless I know why I'm stepping there, all the way to my set back if I'm packing the trail. Every step when I step off of that snow machine is thought. Like it might happen automatically, but if I sit there and show you exactly what I'm doing, you're gonna see the pattern behind why I'm doing it, how far each step is apart and why it is and stuff like that. Right. But yeah, that moose skin gets used all the way to that point.
Awesome.
So, awesome. You'll see it walking out there in my videos.
Yeah.
But as it warms up, it gets harder because, all in the end of March when trapping is just about finishing up, it's warming up enough that it's starting to melt onto the boots and it starts to freeze and get that weird cycle where during the day it melts and then by the time you come back, at the end, like midnight or something, like it's frozen again. So, and then some snow machines will pump out more heat on one side than the other. And like, there's just so many different things.
One thawed out boot in there.
Yeah, one wet boot and one that's just fine.
Yeah.
Especially on the old 2-strokes that had, air cooled engines.
Yeah.
So I run a 4-stroke Scandic 600 Ace now for the last, since 2019. Nice. Oh, I love that machine. It's a tank. I mean, you don't want to flip it over.
Yeah. Right.
But I mean, it's so good on gas. It's not a mountain climber, but it'll push through anything.
Yeah.
So it's really good on gas. It probably burns about the same as like an old Bravo.
Okay.
Around there somewhere. Not as good as like, so an Elan, for people that know these machines, I guess, I don't know anyone outside Alaska knows about it, but like an Elan at its best, it gets just a little worse than that on gas. And an Elan you could go quite a ways. It depends on if you let it running. There's a lot of different factors.
Right.
But I mean, there's a lot that goes on into trapping that's hard to talk about or hard to get into those videos.
Right.
So,
well,
little by little.
I'm excited to continue this conversation, but I think we're going to cut this one and continue into Thursday. So we're going to pick. I want to pick your brain about some more of this detailed trapping stuff.
Oh yeah,
so
that sounds good.
I'm sure, man. Well, hey, this has been awesome. I know we gotta skedaddle out of here, so we're gonna cut this one off here. But I gotta say, man, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your channel with us, your culture, your story, your life experience. So
oh yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being on here for sure.
Yeah. No, I know you're a very busy guy, so I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. So before we completely sign off though, we've talked a lot about your YouTube channel. So tell people exactly where they can go to find all of your content, everything you've talked about, your hunting videos, your trapping videos, all that.
Yeah, I'm right now I'm only on YouTube. So
Okay.
that's Enigmatic Gwich'in.
Okay.
Anything to do with Venetie, Alaska, you'll probably bump into some of my episodes about moose hunting, caribou hunting,
Perfect.
Wolverine trapping lynx, river stuff. You know, a lot of time on the river. Yeah, a lot more videos to come. I've only scratched the surface of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you guys are welcome to check out Enigmatic Gwich'in. So we'll be there.
Well, it's a great view into Alaskan living.
Yep.
And I think for anybody who's curious about that, that's great. And I love that you say you're scratching the surface. And as I'm looking at your channel right now, there's 507 videos available. So plenty of content for people to enjoy if they go there.
Go back and get caught up. It's gonna take a minute.
Right. Yep. So guys, definitely go check out his channel and subscribe. Make sure you're keeping up with all his videos. It's all great stuff, well put together. I enjoy watching every video you put out. So
you guys have a great podcast, and I'm gonna continue listening to this.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, it's now especially that you've been on it. Yeah. And I'm excited for you to come back and share a little bit more of your knowledge on trapping specifics and helping people in there. It's great.
By that time, I'll be trapping too.
There you go. There you go. All right.
I should have some fresh stuff on my mind.
Perfect. Well, hey guys, if you like what you're hearing on the podcast here and you want to support the Northern Hunter, make sure you are subscribing to our show on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Give us a rating. Written reviews go a long way in helping promote the show. So, it takes 2 minutes. 5 stars is always best. And but if you have a negative review, we like reading those ones too. I mean, feel free to reach out to us. If you want to reach out to us with any questions or even any comments, for that matter, we have 2 social medias right now. It's Facebook and Instagram. If you search at The Northern Hunter, you'll find us there. And we have our website, thenorthernhunter.com, where we have a contact button. You can reach us through email on there. We had some issues back in the day, but they've all been resolved. So everything will get through to us there if you want to ask us a question or put a comment. If you have any questions pertaining to trapping specifically, I mean, we would feel free to reach out to Garrett here and get you some expertise.
Yeah.
I'll answer anything I can.
There you go. And of course, support always goes a long way in other realms. So if you feel like repping some Northern Hunter merch, we have a shop section of our website at thenorthernhunter.com that has hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and all that. Mo's wearing a hat right now, which is real snazzy. And the partners page is we've got all of the partners, a lot of great companies that have decided they like what we're doing. They want to support us. So some are big, some are small. And if you shop with them, it really helps support them and helps support us. We have all of our discount codes and the amounts and whatnot all listed right there on the website or in the show notes of the show if you're listening to it. So, well, Gary, thank you again one more time for making time for us and coming on and sharing your story with us.
Oh, yeah. I say anytime, but it'll be a couple of months till the next time. So.
Till you're back in town. So, all right, guys, we will see you on Thursday. And until then, get out there, get after it, and good luck. See you there.
All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to STEALTHYHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.